I should probably record this. I've been talking out my feelings, and I've reached the conclusion that my most prominent feeling is confusion. And it's usually my top number one feeling living in this world. I can't seem to reach people through social media. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. I want to stay with the feeling of confusion, what came to mind as I was sharing the feeling was the dream I had many years ago that absolutely stuck with me. As one of my reminders or beacons, it was when Christ came to visit me after the world fell. And we were all just kind of in the rubble. And some people were trying to, build from the scraps. And I wasn't participating in that. I was just confused and kind of just hiding behind a pile of junk, useless junk. And someone said, Jesus is here. And pretty soon, another person said, Jesus is looking for you. And I said, what? And it scared me. There weren't any other feelings I could define except that I thought I should probably just hide. And eventually, he found me behind the rubble. And he just wanted to give me love and tell me very strong message. And it was like, what came with it was, remember this always. Remember this. We won't be remodeling. We're going to be creating something completely new that has nothing to do with the old world. And I understood him in that moment. I just fully grokked it. I got the message. And I reflect on that quite often. I have over the years. It probably came in the 90s, that dream. Anyway, that doesn't matter. And this is where most of my frustration and confusion comes from, I know. How to build something that's not like the old. but will still be visible or understandable or structured enough for people to even see it. And so I asked for guidance last night in a dream, and it's coming. Every time I ask it, I have lots of dreams. And usually, though, I only remember what I wake up with and have an understanding that it's been an all-night teaching and exploration of what I'm waking up with. So what the dream was pursuing me to work for him. And the temptations were just extreme, like, this is how it works. His whole view was, this is how it works. You come into my orbit and you will have riches beyond your wildest desires. You won't ever have to worry about money. You can do whatever you want. But then in the dream, I was remembering all the times that I came to that point in my work world, especially the defense companies, where it's like, well, you could really go far, but there were some implied things, some insinuations about, but you have to, follow the rules of the club. I was in that intersection in the dream. I was remembering you can, but everything was implied or unspoken. They didn't actually say anything, but it was, a seducing, not in a sexual way at all. It was come into this realm and never worry again. And I resisted it. I just said no. And I was even reflecting in the dream, like, this is weird. Why is he pursuing me? Why does he want me to come into his realm? It wasn't me, that realm. It's not who I am. And then again, bringing in my reflections this morning and trying to, how do you build something that people want to come into that's not so defined? His is very defined. Just follow him. And, he'll essentially dictate what happens next. I see the same dynamic of the Jesus dream where he said, we're not using anything from the past. We're not using anything from the way it's always been. We're recreating. We're creating. And so even in the dream, I didn't really know what that would look like, because we're enclosed in a frame that always points to orbiting around the existing models and structures for wealth, prosperity, even religion, It's like it's all here for you. It's like this world that was created to contain, created to simulate what we have naturally, our natural connections, our natural orbits with love. But to ask people to explore it beyond the existing structures is like the challenge of my lifetime. It's like most people would, if presented with the invitation from in the dream, would have said, sure, I want to be rich and I want to have fun in my life. Because what else is there? If you're not connected to the source, the perceived source of wealth in this false reality, then what are you and what do you have? How do you survive? And that's the part that's challenging for me, because you have to feel it. And then you know what you're connected to. And getting people to feel is quite a hurdle. So it seems that the key is all in the feelings, our feeling nature that connects us beyond this simulation. And it's a whole new language, whole new relationships with spirit. So that's true then, that this is a simulation. Oh, anyway, I'm just, I better talk out loud with what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that I can kind of borrow, or report what the quantum physicists are discovering about reality, and that this theory is this latest theory that people are talking about in that field is that we're trapped in a simulated reality. And this would go along with just about everything that I've ever received, and discovering this long before scientists theorized about it, that this is a false world, a container, a grid that we're stuck to because we're not utilizing our whole capacities. So everything so far seems like it would align with these latest quantum physics theories about the simulated reality. So perhaps that's my intersection. So it's all theory and speculation. That's how it's perceived when something new wants to happen, to break through the fog. And it's immediately judged. It just amazes me. The programming, it's just so effective. So my dream last night about inviting me personally into his orbit was, you didn't have to ever worry about all this shit anymore. Just come with me and I'll make sure you're always taken care of and that you have everything you need. And that's the worldly agreement. Because we know nothing else. Or if we do know something else, we can't define it in terms that are understandable to minds that only know this reality and do not entertain anything that could exist beyond it. Unless they've had an experience, unless they've awakened through psychedelics or contact in some way, like myself. So I'd like to open myself to bringing through a message if there is something that I can share about this topic of a simulated reality and how we transcend it. I'm here. I'm asking to understand this myself more fully so that I can better articulate these realities and this crossroads, this intersection. Is there anything that you have to share on the topic in this intersection? Stima. What is beyond the construct that you have broken through, you have awakened from? How to navigate from one perspective to another. You were given the information many years ago in your timing from your Christ character in your dream that none of the remnants from the old reality, what you thought was reality. None of this would be useful in your true reality. It is useful only in reflection on experience. For the future applications in explorations of consciousness and possibilities within creation itself. So, what you are seeing in your mind's eye is in alignment with what you were told by the Christ persona in your dream, symbol, which is in your consciousness, truth and love and guidance and care and healing. What this character represents to you. So if you are realizing in that moment that all has crumbled into nothingness, that this matrix reality, this simulation, as some are referring to it now, if it collapses, if it no longer works, would you be taking pieces of the simulation with you into the truth of who you are and your reality? Or would you be adapting to your wholeness, the truth of who you are, and then reorienting to your creatorship, how you create, how you connect, how you co-create with other points of perspective, depending on the kind of reality you find yourself awake and aware within. But the dynamics, the tools, everything that you require to build a new reality is already within. And it is simply that this toolbox has not been discovered and it has not been opened in this timing on Earth. If it has been discovered by some individuals, they have a choice to either ignore it and continue with the program that they find themselves within, or in some cases like yourself, and that your last night's dream indicated to you, you are unable to align with what is being pointed to as your source or your center within the false reality, which is primarily, if you focus on the symbol of money, of currency, this is what has been created within this matrix reality to stand for what is natural or inherent within you, that has been suppressed, that has been buried with all of your feeling nature. It was not welcomed, it was not validated. It was not considered relevant to this particular experiment or this particular matrix reality. So it needed to be dealt with via the programming. Now, it can never be extinguished. It is always within every human being. Now, it is each individual human that will be placed now in this crossroads of consciousness, for this matrix is dissolving. There is a great effort by many who are the architects and those who manage this simulated reality. There is an effort, and all of the old magic is being pulled out of their box to apply, to try, to see what works, to keep this container real. And it can only be real if human beings agree to it. So we understand your question and your perspective of how to define something that is not in the wheelhouse of most of humanity. You are asking an individual to imagine something beyond the beyond. Many of your spiritual definitions and or religious definitions are part of this matrix reality. It is developed there because every time a human would ask why, where is love? Where is my connection to God? Where is God? If enough humans were asking these questions, then the program would respond. We do not use the term God very often. You may have noted. It is because this word is more assigned to a matrix reality, something to give humans hope or to pray to, if that is their orientation, but to still contain. So it is more about managing humanity in this simulated reality. For the experiment was to see if one could create what universal source, first source, created, the actual creator. So there is no condemnation or judgment about what one chooses to create. They are experiments to see how and what new ways things can be created. Now, in this case, with this simulated reality, the timing, the cycles for this exploration have come to a close, and if it is viable, has validity, has the universal tenets, if it is aligned with First Source and it has value, then it will be integrated into all of creation. If it is not sustainable beyond the containment, if it is not something that is based on love and truth and expansion, it will no longer exist. So this is the fading and the crumbling that you are seeing within your systems. It is slow at first, and do know that this has been going on for a few centuries now. It was very, very slow in the beginning, but it is quite rapid now. And based on the number of humans who are awakening to this containment, to understanding what they have been contained within or have agreed to be contained within, depending on this number of those who realize this, that is the determining factor for how quickly this will appear to go in time. For you are emerging from time and space and these particular parameters, this particular equation for containment. So back to your Jesus Christ dream. This is why he spoke directly to you to remind you. And even at this point, this crossroads in time that we speak, to remind you that it is not about staying in the containment and finding scraps to rebuild the containment. It is about adapting to your wholeness, to the truth of who you are, the largeness of who you are. To adapt to it, it is understood that it can be overwhelming, even just the thought of this, and the energies can be overwhelming, as this translator knows. But once felt, you do not need to think so much about how to do this. When confusion comes along, as the channel has presented in this sitting, it is simply that you have become overly focused on finding a way to deliver work and inspirational messages and awareness within the simulation alone. It does not work this way. The inspiration comes through this feeling, tunneling connection beyond the simulated reality. And it is tunneling. And everyone has this ability to tunnel beyond the simulation and feel what you are connected to. Now, we realize that there is not a whole lot of information available within the simulation about how to do this. And understand that you won't find it within the simulation. You may be momentarily inspired by love, evidence of love, whether that be through the heartful movements of human beings and their stories of connections. There is something there that enlivens. But at this point, it is mostly temporary, for most humans still defer to what was given through the simulation. There is still the lack of vision or lack of trust that there is something more. And they have not quite grasped that it will not be delivered in the framework of the simulation, meaning it will not be defined within the container. This is why everything that we speak about is pointing you to your heart consciousness, to your feeling nature. For this is how your creator, your source, communes with you. This gift, this treasure that you hold within, your gift of communion, cannot be stifled directly by the simulator. It can be provoked, it can be attacked, it can be tempted away from this actual connection. But you still have the power to choose this love from beyond the simulation. It is a tether to all that is. And you do not need to know ahead of time what this will look like. You simply connect to it and say yes. And it will reveal itself to you and through you as you reside within the simulation. Thereby accelerating the fall of the simulator. So, you have finally arrived to this point where we may be more revealing, where we may disclose more about this conundrum for many humans now. Mostly because there has been a context that you have been living within that you have assumed is all there is. And again, if you are provided your God character and structures for this reaching beyond the simulation, you can still be contained. Now, make no mistake, this is a brilliant creation, but it is not in alignment with your source because it limits consciousness. It was fine to explore it in the cycle that was provided to explore these things, but this cycle is over. And we are now in full expansion. So, there is the opportunity for individuals to continue to participate in limitation if they choose, if that is what they need to explore further. But for most, they will begin to see and feel the truth of not just what we are saying, but what several people are saying now. Humans who are channels or who are doing the work of Source. And all of those beings who are in alignment with supporting humanity in this awakening to remember who they are and to choose differently, or to be given the opportunity to choose differently. The work we see primarily, and the way to structure the work now, to respond to the question of the translator. The work now is to invite the feeling nature, to express feelings, to assist people in finding this core within that resonates beyond the simulation, and to be informed from this source rather than from within the container, the matrix container. Once one feels these vibrations, this field of energy that is available to them now, for it permeates the entire matrix reality, and can only be accessed through feeling. Once people feel it, they have many more choices, and they can feel that. And it will be okay with them to not know what to do next if they are aware that others are here as well, and awakening and looking at each other and wondering how to proceed, who are we and what is possible here. So your Jesus character in the dream, who came to find you, to give you this message, to remind you that in this timing, on earth, in this reality, just know that you will not be remodeling from within the simulator. Do not be tempted to think that this is simply a mishap, an explosion occurred, everything's ruined. Now, how do we rebuild this matrix? That is not what is happening now. What is happening now is far, far greater than that. The opportunities that exist to create. So it is all about context. If all you know is your matrix reality, and you accept the rules of the game within this matrix, and this feeds you, and this is what you want to do, then by all means, you have the free will to choose that. And there are many others now who know in their heart of hearts that there are other choices. They just simply have not been defined. within the parameters of what you think of as reality. There is a greater context. And at this point, trust is very important. You may not understand it with the given tools for your consciousness in the matrix, in the bandwidth of what has been provided for you. You do not currently have access. Most of you currently do not have access to beyond this matrix reality. Your source has entered the matrix many times to deliver truth to you. In many cases, it was redefined and repackaged to keep you within the parameters that make it easier to manage you. But everything is different now. For your source is here. And you can access directly and be guided beyond this containment. Your guidance will not come in the language and inside the boundaries of what you have been existing within. You are invited to remember your natural language of resonance, of love. We have provided tools, steps to take to invite this connection once again. And we will expand with these tools and guidance, should you choose to explore it. It is simply available as another choice now. If you can feel, if your heart is open and active, you will understand this language. It is truly as simple as that. So how does one open the heart? By being truthful with yourself about what you feel. And being willing to heal all of the misunderstandings about what life is. All of the maps and the structures that you were provided upon entry. Are simply management tools, management structures to employ you, to contain you. For your magic, your natural energy is massive. The experiment was, can we control this? Can we mirror creation and create a simulated reality that mimics your source, your creator? your first source. And it turns out that yes, it could be done. It's time in this crossroads of creation, of this cycle of creation, to awaken to what has occurred, what you have participated within, and move on to more expanded realities, to your natural joy, your natural access to creation in love. We are not here to create a new matrix for you, to give you parameters, to give you instructions on how to live beyond the matrix you were in. We are here to remind you that you are a creator and you are connected to your source directly, and you may explore and do and be whatever you choose once you let go of the smallness, once you release the past. You may embrace all of who you are. And you get to define what that looks like. You see? This is the choice. You are loved. You are family. We are here in a variety of forms now. You may identify us through frequency, but you must feel first to know and remember who we are. In the past, we have shared that one way to define us is that we are the rest of your consciousness, reaching to you and assisting you to awaken to the possibilities now beyond what you have been contained within. You get to choose. But know that you are loved no matter your choice. For you can create whatever you wish. Good day.